mentoring club to offer yet another session for those who want to learn and grow, but it's also another small proof point of what we can do if we join forces with those who want to share their knowledge on a pro bono way. So with this, thank you first of all, Moritz, for joining us today and sharing all of your experience and all the things you have learned over the past with our audience today. Some background maybe on the Mentoring Club. Bastian and I, who is also in the call, we founded the Mentoring Club in April 2020. So we are already celebrating our second anniversary this year, which is pretty awesome. It started with just the two of us who were trapped at home during the very first wave of the pandemic, and we were asking ourselves what we can do with, you know, all the free time that we had available then. And what you see today with the Mentoring Club having more than 600 mentors and more than 1,000 sessions every week is, you know, what happens if people want to do good and get lots of support from other people who want to do good. So we are very proud and very happy that you joined today and that we are able to offer this presentation to you today. And with this, I think I will hand over to Bastian, who will give a short introduction into today's topic, and then the stage is all Moritz's for the rest of the call.
Yeah, thanks, Jess, and welcome everyone to this beautiful international crowd that we are seeing here. This event is part of a series, right? So one thing that we started quite early in with the Mentoring Club was also having events like this. So we had a couple of people talking about product management, for example, about leadership and recruiting. We also have some blog posts, and we have a podcast that all was created by the mentors that are part of the Mentoring Club. So they are not just donating their time in one-on-one sessions, but also sharing their knowledge, sharing their experiences in different formats. And this is the baseline, right? This is why the Mentoring Club, as it looks today, is so, let's call it successful, and is able to reach a lot of people from all over the world. And this makes me pretty proud. And in, I think, December last year, Moritz approached me with this idea to also support us and our community with some insights into how to best use the LinkedIn profile to have a great start into 2022, right? And we organized this for today so that all of you have this amazing start, and we are super happy. How many people are we now? To see almost 90 people in the call. I'm sure there will be more coming. We have actually more than 250 being registered for today. So let's see. And yeah, with that, I'm looking forward to the talk. Welcome, Moritz, and thank you already for doing this for us in the community.
Cool, perfect. Thanks for the introduction, Jess and Bastian. Let me remove you from the panel here, if I may, and then we can get started. Okay, say bye to Bastian. Okay, there we go. Hello everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Moritz. So as Bastian and Jess said, I'm here today to help you to prepare your personal brand and company brand for a successful 2022 using LinkedIn. I've started to take LinkedIn more serious a couple of years ago, and I've seen great success with it. And that's why I am with Unlock LinkedIn helping executives and people and companies to be more successful using LinkedIn. So I'll try to make today's session as interactive as possible, although it's a webinar, right? It's a blitz training, so we have around 45 minutes to basically teach you all the things that I think that you do need to know. We will have some time during the Q&A later at the end of the session, so maybe we can discuss it. I can also put here to the panel that we can discuss directly about some things. I will also look into the chat from time to time, but if possible, let's discuss at the end in person. I think that will be super fruitful and helpful. Okay, without further ado, let me introduce you to the agenda of today's training. So first of all, I want to explain you why you should really invest your time into LinkedIn. Is it really worth it? I think it is, needless to say. I want to talk to you about a little bit about what has happened in 2021 and why 2022 may be different, make some predictions for the year. And then which is basically also the main important part of the training is to give you those 5 pillars to enable you to grow your personal brand, and then even get more technical and tell you how you can start building your personal brand right now. And also we do have one surprise gift for you, the mentoring club and myself, but you have to stay until agenda point 5 in order to get granted to that gift. And then we have set a Q&A session, as I said, as last agenda point. Cool. So let us get started, and let us get into the content and into the training. So first of all, let me ask you one question. How often are you online on LinkedIn? So you will see a poll that is launched to your screen in a second. So are you daily on LinkedIn, or are you online every couple of days? Is it rather on a weekly basis, monthly? Or maybe you're asking yourself, what is LinkedIn? Then chances are high you are maybe in the wrong event, but still happy to have you here and happy to convince you that it's a great investment of time. So I do see that many people are voting for daily. So as of now, 67% are online on a daily basis. Let me give you around 3 more seconds to answer, and then I will end the poll and share results with you. 3, 2, 1. Last answers coming in. Okay, so we can see, I can share the results with you, that 67% are online on a daily basis, scrolling through LinkedIn. 25% are online every couple of days, 4% weekly, and also 4% on a monthly basis. And I'm glad everyone knows what LinkedIn is, so everybody's in the right meeting. This is perfect. So let us remember the 67% that are online on a daily basis. This will be relevant later for us. So let us start with giving you some motivation why you should spend time on LinkedIn, right? So most of you are online on LinkedIn, but why should you spend time here? The reason one, it is the place to be. Why is that the case? So we have on LinkedIn almost around 800 million people that are plugged into this platform, or the social media platform. This is growing up to 3 billion, at least that's what LinkedIn plans are telling us. And currently that's 55 million companies globally. So it is the professional network, the place to be. Also very interesting statistics from Gartner says that 66% are more likely to recommend a brand if they followed their company executive on social media, right? So this tells us for professional reasons in B2B, it is very relevant also for B2C to be on LinkedIn and to be noticed and to get recommended. Also very interestingly, if we think about the quality and of the people that are on this platform, is it really worth spending the time with it? Mostly it is, yes, because 80%, that's what statistics say, of people on LinkedIn are driving business decisions, are budget holders, and have something to say and also to share. The reason number 2 is basically why should you invest time into LinkedIn is it does hold extraordinary growth potential. So if you do hear some people say that the opportunity of growing on LinkedIn is over, I would definitely argue against that. So the organic reach on LinkedIn still is massive, right? So what I mean by that, if you compare the opportunities that you can reach content, that you can reach a large audience with your content, that it can grow your follower base on LinkedIn is still dramatically higher. So if you compare that to Facebook, your chances are much higher to reach more people. So it's really a large opportunity. The second reason is basically you do have what it takes, right? So you are here either because you're a mentor of the mentoring club or you're associated to us. So you do have some kind of an elite professional status. You do have a wealth of knowledge, a lot of expertise, and you can capitalize on that, on this professional network. So I want to encourage you to also remember that and make use of it. The third reason is dilutions opportunity. What do I mean for that? So some people, including me, do see a little bit of lower content quality on this platform in the last months and years. If we turn this argument upside down around, we could argue that there are higher chances to differentiate yourself, right? So whenever there's lower content quality and lower quality on this platform, I think there are high chances to differentiate yourself, to be seen, and basically to grow. The reason number three, LinkedIn has a damn good return on invest. What do I mean by having a good return on invest? So I know that many people of you are having many different backgrounds. With product managers, we have salespeople, we have executives in general management, we have people working in tech, IT, HR, and all kind of different positions and companies and industries. For every one of you, there are some opportunities basically to make sense of being active on LinkedIn and building your brand. One thing that I'm often seeing is that very many people, especially executives and managers, have already a pretty good word of mouth, right? So they have people that recommend them, customers, partners, employees, or team members that basically testify that you're a great leader, you are leading great business, you're doing great stuff. But basically those things and recommendations are not digitalized yet, right? So, and LinkedIn is a perfect place to digitalize that good word of mouth and make sense of it. So basically to put your reputation on steroids and show it to more people. Second one, it's a very damn good platform if you want to grow your business, right? So if you care about marketing and sales growth, depending on the strategy that you are following, if you are more outbound or inbound driven company, the opportunities for you to be successful with marketing and sales are gigantic. It's the biggest social media platform for B2B businesses, organically wise, and also for paid advertising, obviously. Third, career development, right? So if you have a good personal brand, if you have a strong brand, you will dramatically increase your chances and access to new jobs, and you will also have people that will be able to find you. So when you position yourself here, this will improve your chances. Access to talent is the next big thing. So when you develop your brand on LinkedIn, you will have more chances and a broader access to more talent, because if your audience grows, the access to talent also grows. The larger the network is, the more options you have. The problem is that many people are sitting on the sideline. So 99% of people are still sitting on the sideline. 99% of people on LinkedIn are consuming content only, and only about 1% of people are really creating content, which is a large opportunity, right? So many people are consuming but are not producing yet. So I would like to ask you, when you are online on LinkedIn, how often do you post actually on LinkedIn? So let me also launch a poll for that, which you will see in a second. So how often do you post on LinkedIn? Are you posting on a daily basis? Is it rather weekly, on a monthly basis, or do you actually do not post at all on LinkedIn, because you are here to inform yourself, to consume content? Okay, we do see, I do see a lot of people that are posting monthly. Let me count down from 3 to end the poll and share the results with you. So 3, 2, 1. Let me end the poll and let's look at the results. Let's remember that over 60% said they are online on LinkedIn daily. What do you think? How many are posting also content on a daily basis? Of course, much less, right? So as we have expected, so around 4% only of people are very actively building their personal brand, posting on LinkedIn. 21% are active on a weekly basis, and almost half of our audience here is posting content on a monthly basis. And there's also a high number, 1/4 of the people, 26% of people that are not posting at all on LinkedIn. Okay, this was super interesting. Let us continue. To give you some motivation and show what can happen if you build your personal brand, if you invest time into posting content, which is essential to post your brand. So the benefits that you can achieve within 1 year are that you will be able to position yourself, is it as an expert, as a thought leader, as an influencer in your domain with your topic and with your expertise, and that you will make other people contact you for advice. You will be able to build a community of, let's say, 10,000 people if you do follow an aggressive growth path for 1 year. What can you do with 10,000 people? With 10,000 people, you can reach 50,000 people with regards to your organic views on your content per week with the content that you are issuing. You can leverage your professional success with that. Let's think X10. So imagine that this audience can add a lot of value to your professional purposes. You can also use that audience to start a side business from your followers and make 1 million revenue within a year, ideally for a B2B business. Why not? And you can also gain free media presence if you are present in LinkedIn. You will have more people contacting you to be present on their channels. Is it videos? Is it interviews in video form, written form, or other formats? So, and the best thing about this, right? So you can start right away. You do not need anything more. You have your personal brand there. You can start right now after this training. So to go maybe one step back before we go into the details, what does it mean building your brand? What are the 5 pillars? Why do I believe 2022 will be slightly different, and what has changed here? I believe 2022 will have more noise, and we will see less quality content on the platform. In reaction to that, I believe we will see more closed communities that will develop upon this, because people will tend to making a choice that they only want to see the content which is relevant for them. Also, I do believe strongly that the media will be more rich. Some of you know that probably know that LinkedIn is offering quite some options when it comes to doing live events and engaging with the community. LinkedIn is now building a more complete also ecosystem around that with Clubhouse-like audio-only formats, and also with a native video event format. So I believe this will play a very big role and will basically lead to dominating B2B events. And also, I believe there will be a strong search for people that are looking for true experts and true and maybe even conflicting sometimes point of views, which again gives great chances to differentiate. Okay, after having looked in 2022, let me now give you the 5 pillars that will enable you to grow your personal brand. And we will also talk about why does personal branding overall versus company branding matter. First of all, to kick this discussion off, I would like to ask you one question. Is your professional environment, so your boss, your team, your colleagues, encouraging you to promote your personal brand? Does that play a role for you? I will launch a poll for you if personal brand building matters in your environment. It's a yes or no question. I am very curious for your answers. I do see a clear trend that's going towards no. Okay, we'll give it a couple of more seconds to end the poll. I see 70 people have answered it already. Okay, so let me count down from 3 to 1 and share the poll so we can see that 60% of people said that their professional environment is not encouraging them to build and promote their personal brand. That is okay, and 40% said that their professional environment is encouraging them to build and promote their personal brand. Awesome, right? So I would like to encourage you in the next minutes, especially those 60% that said no. I would like to encourage you to make an effort to work on promoting those personal brands, because for different reasons, it does have a lot of benefits over company brands. And let me tell you why that is the case. If we here look at a comparison of personal brands versus company brands and look at Tim Cook and the Apple brand and Bill Gates and the Microsoft brands and compare the amount of followers, we can see a dramatic difference of the amount of followers. In fact, statistics tell us that personal brands have in fact 10 times more first degree connections on LinkedIn than a company has followers. 10 times more. That's really a lot. The reasons for this are multifold. One is, and the first most important one is, people actually like to prefer to follow and talk to people over logos, right? So even though if you're in a B2B business, also it is about human to human connections and not logo to logo connections. This number also has a couple of technical reasons. So if you look at a LinkedIn company page, those has technical restrictions compared to a personal profile. So in a company page, you are not able to do any kind of outreach. You cannot send connection invites. You cannot send direct messages, DMs, and you are very limited when it comes to engaging in conversations, making comments, or liking any posts. On the other hand, the options with your personal profile are endless, right? So you can find anyone in this network, you can write to anyone, you can invite them, you can talk to them, you can like, comment, and share their posts. So you can see, due to technical reasons, the chances of collecting followers are very, very different. Now, going into the 5 pillars, hopefully I've convinced you that personal branding matters. What are the 5 pillars that are needed to grow your personal brand? The pillar number 1 is, I would like to give you some basic understanding how the LinkedIn algorithm works to enable you to work with it in a better way. The pillar number 2 is some quick tips on building a 5-star personal profile, which people like to visit and like to engage with. The pillar number 3 is valuable content. I would like to give you some advice on content production and also on pillar number 3, content production and distribution, right? So because it's also important to not only have content, but also to produce it in a strategic manner and also to distribute it in a way that it's basically viewed, clicked, and people can engage with it. Pillar number 5 is engagement. Right, so if you want to build your personal brand on LinkedIn, you cannot and shall not stop by posting relevant content. You also have to engage with your community in order to build a community, in order to build followers that will talk to you and keep following you. Pillar number 1, details pillar number 1, understanding of the LinkedIn algorithm. 4 quick advices that may help you if you know them not yet. The most important one is that on LinkedIn, engagement basically rules everything. Engagement means any kind of click on your content, any kind of comment on your content, or sharing of content. LinkedIn is a people-to-people platform in a professional context. And the LinkedIn algorithm basically counts engagements of content. That means if I'm posting something and you leave me a like or a comment, this counts as an engagement, and LinkedIn will decide that they will show my content to more people. I will have more reach. My content is played out to more people. More reach means more followers, and more followers means even hopefully more engagement, which basically will create to a larger network. Tip number 2 is remember that the first 2 hours count. What does it mean? So LinkedIn, whenever you post something, LinkedIn will show your content to a so-called testing audience. So they will collect, let's say, a couple of hundred people from your network, where they will show the content to. And based on the reaction of those followers, the LinkedIn algorithm will decide, is your content now relevant? Should I show it to other people or not? If I'm posting something that nobody cares about, nobody leaves me a like, nobody comments on it, I will be very sad. The LinkedIn algorithm also will be very sad, but will decide what more is posted is not relevant for the discussion on this platform. We will not show this content to more people. Tip number 3, content is king, consistency is queen. So you want to work with content that is relevant for your audience. You want to distribute it in a consistent manner. This will be basically not only your audience, but also the algorithm of LinkedIn will notice it and will basically give you credit for doing this. The 4th tip is about 3 tips how to grow your reach, right? So the first very simple tip is, I would like to ask you, if you've not done so, look at your profile in LinkedIn and check if you have have filled out all the mandatory things what LinkedIn calls all-star. If you have filled it out, you will get more reach instantly. The second thing which I would like you to consider, and I will send out also a link for that, is the social selling index, which is governed and measured by LinkedIn. The social selling index of LinkedIn above the score of 70 will also give you more reach, and there are different categories who talk about this. Happy to talk about that later or at a different point of time. And also the 3rd tip, work on actively expanding your network, right? So we talk later about more detailed tactics and how to put this in your routines, but take time to actively expand your network. Pillar number 2, to enable you to grow your personal brand. You want to have a 5-star personal profile. You want to have a great personal profile on LinkedIn. Number 1 tip is, as we've said, please make sure that you have this all-star status checked, which is the minimum requirement to make it work. The second advice is basically, which goes towards optimizing your whole profile, is many people make the mistake and think about the LinkedIn profile as their business card or as their digital business card. I would like to ask you to think about it not as a business card, but actually as a landing page. So think about it as a landing page. So if you go to a landing page, you will have most likely a clear value proposition or a clear offering, nicely articulated, and on the website. The website will work with nice colors and also with nice visuals, which is then your photo and your background picture. This landing page will have an offering. This landing page will also have some social proof that you are the one that can solve the problems that your visitor is maybe looking to be solved, and also you can and should also leave a clear call to action, right? So a landing page has a good call to action. Why not also implementing a call to action on your personal profile to make people contact you? And the 3rd tip is basically I want to give to you is be human, don't be robot, don't be bot. Be personal, be yourself, be authentic, have authenticity. I think this always wins over posing. Be human, have weaknesses, and be transparent with them. Be charming, and think about the about section that you have there in LinkedIn. and make it as a charming introduction of yourself, and do not make it too stiff. The pillar number 3 to build your personal brand is about valuable content. And I want to give you 4 advices for valuable content. The first is have a strategy in place, even though if it's a lean strategy. Think about the content that is relevant for your target audience based on your objectives, right? So if you're a marketing sales guy and talk about your product, there's maybe an obvious choice to talk about a couple of different things. Think about it strategically. What content is relevant for you? What content can you talk about? What capabilities do we have, and how can you come up with content on a continuous basis? Tip number 2 is have a repeatable process in place. You do not want to wake up every day with the pressure, oh, Moritz told me I need to post now on LinkedIn on a daily manner, but I cannot post, I do not want to post, and so on and so on. This will give you a large headache. So I would like to invite you to think about to not reinvent the wheel on a daily basis, but to think about what repeatable process can you put in place that you can post on a daily or weekly basis. And we'll talk about one idea of a content creation framework for this also later. The third advice I want to give to you is that you should make content really your end game. So what do I mean? What do I mean by that? If you are issuing content and you want to maybe sell something or promote something, do not be too salesy for it. Make really content your end game. Give out value. Give out good advice. And do not be too salesy in writing your messages. Think about what can you do for your audience, and they will thank you for it later. Tip number 4 for valuable content for your personal brand is use different media. Of course, text is still the dominant form. Video will be dominating, of course, but still text works very, very well on LinkedIn. Pictures also do get you a lot of reach. Polls also give you a lot of reach, although they are kind of used inflationary, as you can also probably see it on LinkedIn. And of course, video and other rich formats do work very well. So use a fair amount of different media in your content strategy. Pillar number 4 is a content. It's consistent content production and distribution. Right. So what do I mean by that? As we said, you do not want to reinvent the wheel on a daily or on a weekly basis. If you even especially if you're working maybe in a team who wants to now go more serious on LinkedIn, you want to think about a framework which will basically enable you to come up with content on a regular basis, right? So what you want to do is here you want to define activities that you can basically have a never-ending stream of content, which can be purposed and distributed for your purposes based on your objectives. Here's one example how you could do that. This is one example of a content creation framework. Leading companies have around 2 to 4 of those content creation pillars on the ground, which they do on a regular basis, which will give them content which can be distributed not only on LinkedIn, but also on all other channels that they are using. One example is think about talk to your target customers on a weekly basis. Can be also your target audience. Make one 30-minute interview with your target audience on video. Create customer insights from that. Ask those experts interesting questions about trends and things in the industry. From that 30 minutes interview, you can create 3 to 4 shorter videos that can be clicked easier. You can repurpose them not only to LinkedIn, but also to YouTube and any other video-based channels. From that 30-minute interview, you can create at least one article, which you can put to your website, blog, and also to LinkedIn. Watch out for duplicate content. Do not make it the same text, but change it slightly. Also, from this one article and from the one video, you can create at least 5 different LinkedIn posts. So you can see from this one content creation pillar, you can create lots of content which can be distributed to a lot of different channels. If you are really meaning it, you can even use the audio audio element of the video, and even repurpose that into a podcast on a podcast platform. As we've said, your content game should not stop after you are distributing content. You also want to engage with your audience, right? So make sure to spend enough time by engaging and talking with your audience. And point 5, analyze what works. Do not be afraid of reusing the same content over and over again. I see many companies, thought leaders, influencers that are posting the content that worked for them every couple of months or at least every year. So do not be afraid of doing that either. Pillar number 5 to grow your personal brand on LinkedIn. Engagement with your community. We talked about this a little. Here are 3 hands-on tips on how you can engage with your community. When you are posting, I hope I have convinced you that you should post a lot with your personal brand, is please answer on all comments and start conversations there. That's also very much liked by the algorithm. If you are answering on a comment, if you start a ping pong conversation game onto your LinkedIn posts, the LinkedIn algorithm will basically think this is a relevant discussion, will show to more people, more engagement, more reach, and so on. Tip number 2, engage in real conversations, right? Remember, it's a people network, so really engage in real conversations with people, talk with them in your direct messages inbox, have meetings with them, try to if it makes sense to you, to integrate them in your real professional life, work with them and talk to them, right? And the third tip is please be kind, be honest, be helpful to others. I still believe being kind, being honest, and helpful does have a dramatically high ROI and will be very beneficial to you. Okay, so those were the 5 pillars to build your personal brand. Now I would like to get even a little bit more technical and talk to you about how to start building your personal brand right now, what you can do starting right after the meeting. So my general advice here would be execution over overthinking, right? So start doing it before overthinking it. Many people, including me, also did have a lot of fears and anxiety about posting on LinkedIn. The typical thoughts are, should I really post here? Will people think I'm stupid? Will people think that my content is really relevant? Is it backed by numbers? Is it backed by research? Does anybody want to read it? Or will people just think, what an idiot, what is he posting? Well, actually, the good news is, and it may sound counterintuitive, is but that most people actually will not give a fuck what you are writing, right? So that's a good thing, right? So if I'm posting tomorrow something and you will see my post in your feed, you will only stop the scroll if this is relevant for you. If you think this is relevant, what Moritz wrote here, you will stop your scroll and you leave a like or a comment, or you will share this. If you will not like it, you will just continue scrolling and you will most likely not have any negative thoughts attached to it, right? So first advice would be overcome your anxiety, post. Most people do not care really about what it is. You will find some people that will care about your content, about what you have to say, and those are the people that you will build your community with. Second one is just pick one topic where you have an expertise and write about that, right? So whether you're in sales, you're an entrepreneur, a founder, a product manager, HR, IT manager, whatever it basically is, pick one topic where you have expertise on and speak about it, right? So you would be surprised how many people will like to read from your expertise. Third advice, very technical. When do you do that? And what worked very well for me may also work for you. So my advice would be schedule 30 minutes per day in your calendar to post, comment, and to send an answer on DMs, and to actively expand your network. Use those 30 minutes, prioritize it in your calendar to work on your personal brand. Okay, I have another question for you, since I want to talk to you a little bit about how to write good posts now to get a little bit more technical. So question for you, will be how to write good posts. What do you think? Will it be rather shorter posts, longer posts, or do you have no idea? The question is what works better, right? So very long, extensive posts or shorter posts. Okay, I see many people responding to it. So that means most of you guys are still awake and with me. That is good. Okay. I see many people are preferring, do believe that shorter posts are working better. Let me count down from 3 to 1, and then I will end and share this post. Okay, with the results in now. So 65% of you believe that shorter posts work better on LinkedIn. 15% do believe 15% believe longer posts work better, and 20% have no idea. That is perfectly good. So the answer basically here is surprise, surprise. It depends, right? So it really depends on what you want to do. If you're working with to simplify it, to oversimplify the answers, if you're working with more clickbaity, like short, consumable, snackable content, shorter posts work well, right? But if you are following a game where you want to build some authority in a niche, in a special domain, in an area, the post actually cannot be long enough, because you will have a lot to say and people would like to follow your thoughts. So it really much depends on where you are and what you're talking about. Okay, so let me give you some advice here, a little bit more tactical, on how to write good posts. A couple of advices. So the headline is super important. So it's actually the most important part of a good post. You want to write a headline that is basically attractive, where people like to read. So what works, for example, is very well is 3 success factors for the worst failure of how to do this, guides, advice, right? So you want to attract people and you want to be a little bit clickbaity here. Second one is headline length. So don't make it too long, make it short, so make it concise, make it snackable, valuable, easy to read, and also easily clickable. Do not extend the text here. Number 3, what also works well is work with guides, right? So work with how-tos. Those are things that are very much clicked and get a lot of reach. Tip number 4, structure your post definitely in subheadings, make it snackable. If you are posting, do not write your text in 1-page long documents without putting a structure to it. You want to enable skim reading for your audience. So structure your arguments in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 subheadings and make it more easy to read. The best post lengths, as we said during the beginning, it really much depends on what you are talking about, what the subject is. Number 6 is use a simple language. Statistics found out that the best working posts have a non-academic language that is easy to be read by 11 to 13-year-olds. I will be happy to share also a link that measures this readability score of your post. Advice number 7, when working with external links. When working with external links, use them with caution. When you're working with external links, I would recommend to not post the links in the post that you're using, but rather post them as a comment under your post. Tip number 8, use images for more views. The LinkedIn algorithm shows that images do work very well. Number 9, polls still have a dramatically high reach. Don't make them too clickbaity, right? So many people are also already nerved by too clickbaity content around those polls, so be cautious on that. Tip number 10, use carousel slides on any kind of documents if you are into the game of giving out insights, and if you want to build authority for your content, that works very well. Tip number 11, at the end, make sure to include a call to action. The call to action is important because this will tell other people that they should react to your content. So leaving a like or even a comment will, again, as we said before, help the algorithm to show your content to more people, which is very beneficial for you. The 12th and last advice here is with regards to hashtags. So use maximum 5 relevant hashtags that have a relevant amount of followers. The hashtags that have 1 million of followers and hashtags that have actually no followers. I'm also happy to send you a link, which is a Chrome plugin that measures the amount, that shows you the amount of followers each hashtags have. My advice here would be to use a healthy mix of hashtags with a lot of followers, but also hashtags that are more niche related. Okay, so that is the advice with regards to posting. I would like you to go ahead and post now. But before you leave off, I would also like to advise you that building a personal brand is rather a marathon than a sprint on LinkedIn. I would like to encourage you to still do it, to not stop for it, and also to ask for help, ask me, ask your peers. We are here for you. And yes, of course, as we've promised, we have also one gift for you to get you started on LinkedIn. And this gift is basically a free LinkedIn growth audit, which I would like to give to you. So the Unlock LinkedIn Growth Audit analyzes your personal brand and company brand, basically on your personal profile, your company page, looks at your content, a distribution game, looks at how you're engaging with others and what kind of playbooks are you using and how are you doing, and gives you tailored recommendations and advice on how you can grow. It does have a regular price of 199 euro. We decided to give this for the first 50 people for free. How can you access this? Please send me a link to Moritz at unlocklinkedin.com, subject Mentoring Club Growth Audit. And I would like to also encourage you to show some love to our friends and it's a mentoring club, right? So you know that the Mentoring Club is a non-profit organization, and donations keep the wheels spinning. So instead of paying me, you can think about a donation for the Mentoring Club as a small thank you. I would also like to thank you for your attention and now open up the room for the Q&A. So give me a second to unshare my screen, and then I can also put some people to the panel. Maybe if you want to give me a quick hint in the chat, if you have a question, then I can promote you as a panelist. Okay, Franziska had a question with regards to the best time for posting. Let me try to put you up here, Franziska. Franziska, would you like to come up here on the panel to talk to us? You should get a request now.
Hold on, sure. Hi.
Hello, Franziska, nice to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was super exciting. Well, my question was, do you have any recommendations on when to post? Because I've experienced that, like once I posted an art, like a picture at 11 p.m. on Saturday, and it went viral and I had 1,500 likes. And sometimes I post something on, I don't know, Monday at 9 in the morning and it doesn't resonate at all. So I'm asking myself, are there any best practices on when to launch a post?
Yeah, very good question, Franziska. Unfortunately, the answer here is also it depends on your audience, right? But there are some peak times, right? So on average, peak times when content works for most people are in the morning hours, so 9 to 10. Then also during lunchtime, during noon, so around 12 of the day, and then again at like 4 or 5 p.m. when probably most people are leaving work already. LinkedIn also sees a peak time during the mid of the week. but this also depends on depends on your audience, right? So I also did a mistake here in thinking, okay, actually my content does reach a lot of people, but what's also recommended here is basically to look at the people that your content is really seen by, right? So if those people are not matching your audience, but you're basically showing people, so if you're a salesperson and you're showing people to your other sales professional peers, but not to your future customers, then it's probably the right time that you chose to post, because you're in the trap that you thought that your content is clicked but by the wrong people.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I also put Büsra up to the panel because you also had a question, I believe. Is that right?
Yes. Hi. Thanks for the great content. It's Bushra, by the way. But no worries.
Bushra, sorry.
Used to it. Oh, good. Yeah, I just wanted to understand what consistency means. I mean, does consistency mean I have to post every day? Does it mean I have to post every week? Or does it mean some rule, but then stick to it? Like, okay, I'm gonna post every Monday and Thursday, for example. Is there a difference for the algorithm, or is it, up to me?
Yeah, very good question. So for the algorithm basically will credit you for consistency. The ideal amount of posting will be actually if you do it on a daily basis, and actually not more than once daily, and ideally at similar time frames. So I would look at it actually from two angles. One is the algorithm, but also from the audience level, right? So I know that for many people, their audiences are actually waiting for a new content, a new post at 10 a.m. That comes from some people that they're following because they really like to read it. If you are posting 3 times a week at the same days in a similar time frame, I would definitely do that, right? So if you can post daily, do that. But consistency 3 times a week is also good, and will be, I'm sure, rewarded by the algorithm and also by your followers.
Okay, thanks a lot. And will you be able to share the link to this, what was it, social thingy index? And there was another one, like, I think there were 2 links, right?
Yes, definitely. I will definitely share it afterwards. So one was for the social selling index. So that can be a great measure to, I think, to start building more reach. And there were 2 other links. One was for readability score, and another one for which measures the amount of followers in your for your hashtags.
Yes, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Yes, yes. David has a social thingy index. What do you mean, David? I'll put you to the panel. Hello, we've also.
I think that's what I said. I think I called the social thingy something.
Okay.
So
perfect.
it's this, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Hello, I also see that we have Jorim here. Do I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes. Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I noticed the last week or so that more people said that the polls were somehow, like, the algorithm was reworked and that they were less likely to go viral. Did you notice any of that?
I do notice that so in general there are constant changes to the algorithm, right? So the biggest change that I've noticed was basically in the last year, where LinkedIn has lowered the organic reach for all of your content. It was also the time when they have introduced the creator mode. So yeah, this actually does happen every time to time, and I also do suffer from it, definitely. The only way, but that's the good news, is basically to stay or be consistent with your content if you found a good angle. And at the end, if you have 20 likes on a comment or 30 likes on a post, for me the real question is always not this number, but basically what comes out of that, right? So basically, I mean, what's your main intention on being on LinkedIn, if I may ask, Jorim?
It is both building a network just to be connected with people and also get sales for the programs and coaching.
Yeah, in that case, right, I would definitely measure the most important thing, which is the meetings that you land from the content, or maybe social selling game that you deploy to LinkedIn, and from deals that you close from that, right? So of course, reach and engagement are a good indicator, but it's even more important what you do with it, right? So even though if you have only 3 posts, 3 likes on one post, but if you have 2 people contacting you with it, and you close one very big deal with it, that's awesome.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah. Optimize for what's most important. I also see that David also joined us. David, did you also have a question for us? For me?
Sure, I'll ask the question that I put in the chat, but back in the day, I was very restrictive in who I would accept into my network. So it was either somebody that I've met or I've worked with or something like that. I know your name. And I would reject all of the requests from people who didn't explain why they wanted to connect with me or anything like that. But I wonder whether that's the smart thing to do. And I've become more lenient and sort of accepted sort of blind requests now, kind of based on the profile of the individual making the request. Should I be much more open to accepting blind connection requests for the purpose of building my network? Or does that just, naturally it's going to build a bunch of noise into my network? What's the trade-off there?
Yeah, very, very good question, David. My first and simple advice would be, yes, be more open to connect with more people, although you do have a point that you may dilute your network, right? But from my experiences, I can say being more open to more people does have more advantages than it has disadvantages. So if you look at, maybe to make one example of, I guess many people of you have random. So for example, I have per day, I don't know, 5 to 10 random sales messages in my inbox with some people that want to sell something to me. A couple of years ago, I ignored them, didn't do anything for them, and then tried to turn this around and sent them a rewarding and warm message back saying, hey, I know this, you're trying to sell me something. I'm not interested, but I hope you will be successful. And you would be surprised how many nice messages you are getting from that are then from real humans, and that suddenly want to build real connections with you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Every once in a while, there's a good, you'll get a little gem there, but there are a lot of people who are connecting to me as a lead gen for lead gen purposes, right?
Yeah, there are limits, right? So I totally agree. Maybe opening up to anyone is not a good choice, but I would actually, my advice would be rather be more liberal than more close community, because I think the downsides are not that dramatic, right? Okay, I think we have one new addition to our panel here, which is Rosa. Rosa Kiros.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, I have one question. I would like to know what would be the best way to approach and to expand the network, because I have tried to invite people with the connection button, but there are some people that restrict this, and there is a message saying they prefer to be followed, and my interest is in the long term to talk to them, maybe sales, or maybe get them to see what I post. So what would be the best way to connect with them?
Can you explain, Rosa, how are you trying to connect and send messages, and what does not work?
I try to send a connection request. Well, sometimes I send it and it's okay, and some other times there's a message saying that this person preferred to be followed rather than.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so there are multiple dimensions to that. So one is for people that have a minimum amount of followers, LinkedIn will suggest to turn on their what LinkedIn calls creator mode. This has a couple of consequences. One is that with the creator mode, you can select the hashtags which will appear on your profile, things that you like to talk about, blah, blah, blah. And one other is how others see your profile. So for people with many followers and connections, you will basically see per default a follow button that you should follow them. So that's basically one dimension that comes for that. And the reason is LinkedIn has a limit for personal profiles to have 30,000 connections. I hope that's still up to date. And after 30,000 connections, you can only have more followers, but no more direct connections. And another dimension to that is actually, Rosa, and I've also experimented back in the days with automation software with regards to invites, right? And I can talk for long hours basically about the pros, but more about the against for that, because I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest. And I would definitely advise against using them. But one reason is that also LinkedIn has lowered the amount of connection invites. So LinkedIn also has noticed that lead generation tactics have gotten like very wired, right? So as David suffered from it, 1 year ago, if you would use a tool like WeConnect or anything else, a sales development representative could send out a couple of hundred connection to requests to random people in his target group, not in his network, and basically, yeah, annoy the hell out of other people. So LinkedIn has decided to lower the amount of connection requests that you want to send, which also means, Rosa, if you are sending, let's say, more than 60, 70, 80, up to 100, I think it's the current limit per week, connection requests per week on LinkedIn. LinkedIn will remind you and ask you, hey, are you really, do you really want to send out that many connection requests? They will ask you questions like, Rosa, do you really know those people, right? Because LinkedIn wants to promote warm introductions and warm connections and so on. And there was a long answer. I think it was still helpful, Rosa?
Yes. It is very helpful. Yeah, I'm not spamming people, but yes, I would like to know what is the best way to getting them to connect with them.
Yeah, my advice would be here to first of all be very personal. Also, if you have, let's say, if you are following like high-level executives that are also difficult to reach, I would even suggest if you have the patience for that, also to build in some content strategies to build the relationship, right? So you go to the profile. Look what they're posting, leave a meaningful comment on that, do that a couple of times, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times, ideally until this person answers you on the comment, gives you a comment back, and then you have small conversation starter in that comment. And since you have a conversation already going on there, you have started to build a relationship, and you can very rightfully outreach to that person and basically say, hey, Peter, nice conversation there on the topic of blah, blah, blah. Would love to follow your thinking on LinkedIn. And I can guarantee you that 95% of people having done that will then agree to that. What do you think, Rosa?
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, it's great advice. Thank you.
Cool. Very much welcome, Rosa. I know that Sam here also talked about, I'm not sure if Sam, are you on the panel? Also talked about connection requests.
Yeah, I think my question was already answered because what Rosa asked. So I do have a follow-up question actually, and that would be along the lines, my interpretation so far about the entire LinkedIn algorithm is winner takes all. I have seen profiles that have like 10K, 30K, 40K, 50K followers, but somehow a lot of us that are attending this webinar seem to be stuck within that maybe 1K to 2 to 3K zone. So what sort of strategies would you recommend? Because most of the content that I do see on LinkedIn it's not very stellar, right? As you said, it's diluted. And I have very high profile CEOs and investors in my connection list, and I don't want to seem to be the fool, right? So it's really interesting to see what kind of content would work out for them, as well as the other not so interesting people in my network. Yeah.
So, so your question is, how can you quickly build your network and come out of that 1 to 2, 3,000 to 10,000+, right?
Exactly.
I guess first of all, you will need to plan it for at least 1 year in advance and have the patience to play that game for at least a year. 2 years ago, probably people would have advised you to use those LinkedIn automation tools and send out hundreds of connection requests. You can also still automate this with tools like WeConnect and others. Why I'm advising against it is that I am very sure that the algorithm notices it and will basically punish you by decreasing your reach in the algorithm, right? So they will notice it and they will not like it. But what could you basically do to build up that network? What I can also share with you after the call, Sam, is basically a very light framework, which is a plan that walks you through 7 different steps, what you can do with aggressive or moderate aggressive growth tactics to build up your follow-up plan. Let me share that with you after our meeting, okay?
All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And thanks for the amazing presentation as well.
Thanks a lot, much appreciated, Sam. I'm just not explaining the detail because I will need probably 10 minutes for it, and probably it will be too long, but let's take it offline. Happy to talk about that.
Sure, thanks a lot. Yeah, I'll stay put.
Cool. Cool, do we have any other people on the call that want to leave a comment or question? I see Sophie was asking a question. Let me invite you to the panel. Would you like to join us? Hello, Sophie. Can you hear Sophie?
Hiya, can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you.
All right, great. Thank you for doing this talk on LinkedIn as well. It's very, very useful, as I've only just actually started to use it for my work, which is a charity. And I was just wondering if the profile picture on your page has, you know, a massive effect on your, you know, the people that are seeing your page and whatnot. So like, I was wondering if it's better to have like a professional sort of headshot kind of photo for your page, or if it's better to have something that's more personal, more fun and smiley, you know?
Yeah, very good question, Sophie. I get the question a lot. Sophie, in what industry are you working on?
Charity.
Charity, okay. So I'm asking because that would very much influence my answer, right? So if you would be a lawyer, I would probably say, yeah, you know, let's do a very closed up kind of headshot, smile, focused biometric shit and all this, right? But I assume that in charity you do not need to be that stiff. So I would encourage to use somehow a well-centered headshot, definitely with a smile, maybe even with some kind of poppy backgrounds, right? So with some, what I do see what works a lot is also some flashy colors, right? So maybe it's even flashy colors as I've used them here in the presentation as a background, because it just sticks out.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much for that. That's really helpful.
Cool, thank you, Sophie. Thank you for coming up in the question. Okay. If there are no more questions from the people on the panel, I see no more questions in the chat. David, Jorim, Rosa, Sam, Sophie, Franziska, anything else from you guys?
Not particularly, thank you.
Okay, cool. Okay, great. If that is everything, I hope I could be valuable for you guys. So thanks a lot for your attention, being with me. Feel free to contact me after the panel for anything, any further questions and so on. Yeah, pleasure to be here. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day and see you soon.